Joined, of course, by one of the men of the hour, head coach James Franklin here at Penn State Pro Day. You're about to send hopefully a dozen guys onto the NFL out of this class that took your program to the college football playoff semifinal. A day like today, as Hack's been saying, kind of the end of this process, trying out in front of teams before just a few more interviews. What is this like to be with the guys on a day like today?
First of all, I'm not the man of the hour. It's all about these guys today and their families. But it's cool for me because it's kind of sad to say this, but I'm one of the few head coaches in college football that I've been a part of all of it with these guys, from 9th, 10th grade in the recruiting process, going to their homes on home visits, being at their high schools, watching them develop and grow within the program, be extremely productive on the field as individuals, but also, most importantly, be able to impact the program and the team in terms of wins. And these guys won at a very, very high rate. And then, for me to be able to see now them be able to chase their dreams and their journeys of going on and playing in the NFL and feeling like we've done a really good job and they've done a really good job of preparing them for this moment.
I think that consistency is a massive part of that. And you've done such a good job of putting on, like at the end of the day, you play a big hand in putting this talent out here, right? And I think it's been year over year now. Talk a little bit about that process and what it means to you. It's something the program takes great pride in, is the NFL guys, the NFL participation. And I think a big part of that is the foundational processes of this program.
Yeah, they have to have a foundation, right? Obviously, these guys all go and they train at different places. Amin stayed here with us, but some of these guys, they go and train with the agents wherever they have them set up. But if they don't have a really, really strong foundation going into that, then it doesn't matter. And for the most part, our guys' numbers are very similar to what they are here. They'll tweak them a little bit and things like that. But there's that physical foundation, but then there's also the foundation of teaching football. It's in the offenses you run, it's the defenses you run, it's the special teams, it's the emphasis on special teams, because most of these guys are going to have to play special teams in the NFL, so all those things are important. But it's also teaching situational football. It's being able to talk football, get up and be comfortable doing that. And we try to put our guys in situations to do that so that when the time comes to sit down with NFL coaches, GMs, whatever it may be, they're comfortable doing that.
And we've seen some impressive numbers and times, and I think that's a credit to the strength staff and Chuck Losey and the consistency he's brought on that side of it as well. But we're also seeing certain guys who have really elevated their stock as they look towards their NFL futures by coming back, playing another season. When you look at a guy like Tyler Warren, the amount of reps he got from this year and the way he turned into a Heisman finalist, what can you say about the ability to bring guys back into your program for one final year with the way college football has evolved, including NIL?
Yeah, so first of all, you got Dwight Galt here today, who's kind of a legend in our program and a legend in college football. He's running around. He came yesterday to practice and then here today. And obviously Chuck and his staff have done a phenomenal job building on that. But yeah, college football has changed, and I think there's a lot of different ways that you can approach this, NIL and transfer portal and things like that. But in the old days, you'd have to have conversations and try to convince guys to come back. And you really had nothing to sell them on except for obviously two very important things: increasing their educational experience and also giving themselves a better chance to get drafted higher. But now you're able to do some things to make it a little bit more attractive to coming back. So to me, that's been our philosophy. How do we retain our current roster, the guys that we have developed and poured our blood, sweat, and tears into? And then obviously if we got to go out and accent some of those pieces, great. But you look at Tyler Warren, where his draft grades were last year and obviously where he's going to be this year, it's life-changing. You could make a similar argument about Olu Fashanu the year before, and a number of these guys. So I think we got a great argument to make. We take care of these guys. We understand there's got to be a separate plan for them as well and where they're at in their careers. But hopefully it's a win-win for everybody. It's a win for Penn State, this community, but also it's a win for these guys and their long-term careers.
Hard to argue Tyler Warren isn't a win-win for everyone involved in the blue and white.
Yeah, the challenge a little bit, though, is, they got all these people telling them to come out because when you get to the second contract, the problem is very few guys ever make it to the second contract. So you got to maximize that first contract and see how it plays out.
So, Coach, you touched a little bit about NIL here, and I think one of the things that I've seen, at least just watching, is just the openness that you've embraced this whole thing giving access. You have a whole sideline dedicated to folks who are giving back to the program. The different support you've been getting from Happy Valley, the athletic department, different avenues for folks to start participating. I think what we're trying to do here with the media and the content and being able to give exclusive things for corporate incentivization to participate is a massive thing. Talk a little bit about the development of that since you got here, because we talked to some of these folks earlier. It was a little bit of we don't really know what we're doing, but we got to throw stuff towards it. And now I think you're starting to hit a big alignment thing that you've been talking about with folks now being able to execute and provide outlets for these people to feel comfortable about participating in.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And obviously the rule changes have helped, because now it can be like giving to colleges and universities like it's always been in terms of a tax write-off and things like that. So I think that makes more sense under the current model. Now it has a chance to be a win-win for everybody. But I think to your point, I just think we're much more strategic at this point. There's a plan on how it makes sense from the very highest level down, and that we're all kind of in this together. So I think there's been, instead of just the head coach pounding the drum on these things that we're going to need to do, it's coming from the AD. There's buy-in across campus in terms of the development office, understanding this has got to be a part of the discussion as well. You know, the challenge that we have, as we all know, is you're trying to do a $700 million stadium project at the same time, and that was probably my biggest concern. And I think Pat has been just phenomenal. Him and Vinny James have been phenomenal in just understanding we got to really do both at the highest level, which takes a commitment and takes a plan.
It's a lot of financing work and back-end budget balancing and revenue projections that I don't really have the expertise in.
But winning helps all fundraising, and I think you guys are finding that. We talked about it after the heels of the Rose Bowl, and then now again making it to the college football playoff semifinal. Is it feeling like that ball's rolling in the right direction?
Well, I think that's the thing that we all have to say, right? Every discussion you're having, every plan, it's got to start with winning. How does this impact winning now? And then how is this going to impact winning long term? And every discussion and every decision has to start with that. To your point, a winning football program and the things that we've been able to do on a consistent basis that you mentioned, it's a win for everybody. It's a win for the athletic department. It's a win for the community, the hotels, the bars, the restaurants. It's a win for the university in terms of applications. It just makes a ton of sense for everybody. There's so much data out there that shows that.
Well, not the man of the hour, but a very important one. Thanks for joining us.
Well, I appreciate your guys' time.
It, Coach.
Thank you so much.
Yep.